My mother-in-law banned me from family events until I gave my company to my husband. I left him and turned the situation around. The crystal wine glass shattered in my hand, sending fragments across the mahogany dining table. Blood dripped from my palm, but I barely noticed the pain. What hurt more was the casual way my mother-in-law had just demanded that I hand over my entire company to her precious son. I'm sorry, and until 10 minutes ago, this was supposed to be a normal family dinner. Honey, you're bleeding. Vincent reached for my hand, but I pulled away. The concern in his voice sounded hollow after his silence during his mother's speech. I'll get the first aid kit. Amber, my sister-in-law, quickly left the room. At least someone was acting normally. Bada wiped the corners of her mouth with her napkin, as if she had imaginary friends, her perfectly manicured nails gleaming under the chandelier light. Really, Zarya, there's no need to be dramatic. What I'm suggesting is perfectly reasonable. The company would function better under Vincent's leadership. It's best for the family. Best for the family, I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make Vincent wince. I built Snack from nothing, 5 years of 18-hour days, mortgaging my house, eating ramen noodles. Where was your concern for family then? Mom is right, Vincent finally spoke. Think about it logically. The pressure is clearly affecting you. You're working too hard. Don't you dare. I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Don't pretend this is about my well-being. Amber returned with the first aid kit, but I waved her off. The bleeding had almost stopped anyway. Zarya, Bada's voice took on that sickeningly sweet tone she used when trying to manipulate situations. You're being unreasonable. Vincent has the business experience from working at his daddy's company, which you handed to him on a silver platter. The words came out before I could stop them. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Bada's face hardened, her usual mask of courtesy cracking. I won't allow you to disrespect my late husband's memory. Then don't disrespect everything I've built. I turned to Vincent. Do you really agree with this? With trying to take my company from me? He wouldn't meet my eyes. It makes sense financially. We could merge operations, streamline everything. As husband and wife. As husband and wife, you should be supporting me, not trying to steal my life's work. Nobody is stealing anything, Bada interrupted. We're simply suggesting a restructuring. The paperwork is already drafted. She reached into her designer purse and pulled out a thick envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Legal documents, transfer of ownership, all ready to go. They had planned this ambush down to the last detail. How long? I asked Vincent. How long have you been planning this? Don't be dramatic, he sighed. Mom is just trying to help. How long? A few months, he admitted, but it's not planning behind your back, it's planning for our future. I looked around the dining room, the family photos on the walls. Vincent and me on our wedding day, family vacations, Christmas mornings. 5 years of memories suddenly felt like an elaborate setup for this moment. Zarya, Amber touched my arm gently. Maybe you should take some time to think about this. Oh, I don't need time. I grabbed my purse from the back of my chair. I built my company from scratch. It's mine, end of discussion. You're making a mistake, Bada shouted as I headed for the door. Family should come first. I turned one last time. You're right, Bada, family should come first. Remember you said that. The drive home was a blur. I barely registered the familiar streets, my mind racing with possibilities. They had shown their cards, revealed their true colors. Now I needed to figure out what my next move would be. My phone vibrated with a text from Vincent. Come home, we can talk about this. Home? The word felt different now, tainted. I texted back, I'll be staying at a hotel tonight. Don't follow me. Another vibration. You're overreacting. Mom means well. I turned off my phone and pulled into the hotel parking lot. In my purse, the envelope of legal documents crinkled. They really thought I'd just sign everything over, just like that? They thought I was weak. Well, they were about to learn how wrong they were. In my hotel room, I took out my laptop and opened my contacts. The first call would be to Felicity. She needed to hear this. Then, Chenis from the office. If they wanted a war, I'd give them one. But first, I needed a plan, a way to make them regret even thinking they could take what was mine. My phone remained off. Let Vincent stew in his guilt tonight, if he felt any. Tomorrow would be soon enough to start showing them exactly who they were dealing with. You're not going to believe what I found. Felicity burst into my office, waving her tablet like it contained state secrets. After last night's disastrous dinner, I'd come straight to work, needing the familiar comfort of my corner office. Spill it, I said, pushing aside the quarterly reports I'd been pretending to read. Vincent has been meeting with Nigel from Apex Tech several times over the past month. She turned the tablet to show me screenshots of the calendar. My contact in their HR department says they've been having long conversations about future collaborations. My stomach churned. Apex was our biggest competitor. That slippery bastard. There's more. Felicity swiped to more screenshots. Bada has been BCC'd on all email correspondence. They're planning something big. A knock on my door made us both jump. Chenis, my project manager, entered. Sorry to interrupt, but Vincent is in the lobby. He says he needs to talk to you. Perfect timing. I straightened my jacket. Felicity, stay. Chenis, sent him up. Minutes later, Vincent walked in, looking perfectly groomed in his designer suit. Seeing him made my blood boil. Can we talk privately? He glanced at Felicity. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of my CFO. He sighed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. About last night, I interrupted, or about your secret meetings with Apex Tech? The color drained from his face. How did you? Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Is that why you want my company? To hand it over to Nigel on a silver platter? It's not like that, he protested. Mom and I were exploring options. Your mother needs to stay out of my business. I stood up, planting both hands on my desk. And so do you. You're being irrational. This merger could be good for everyone. Merger, Felicity scoffed. More like hostile takeover. Vincent's face hardened. This is exactly why Mom thinks you need help running things. You're too emotional, too attached. Business requires a logical approach. Get. My voice was deathly quiet. Zarya? Get. Out. He straightened his tie, trying to maintain dignity. We'll talk when you've calmed down. The door closed behind him with a soft click. I slumped back into my chair, hands shaking. I need everything you can find on Apex, I told Felicity. Financial reports, stock prices, insider rumors, everything. My phone vibrated, a text from Amber. Need to talk. Lunch? It's important. An hour later, I was sitting across from Amber at a quiet cafe 2 blocks from my office. She looked nervous, shredding a napkin into tiny pieces. Bada has been planning this for months, she blurted out. She's convinced you're running the company into the ground, that you're too ambitious for your own good. And he believes her. You know how he is with her. She's had him eating out of her hand since his father died. Amber leaned forward. But there's something else. Last week I overheard her on the phone with Nigel. They're planning to force a board vote next month. My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. They can't. I have the majority of shares. For now. Amber's voice dropped to a whisper. But they're convincing the minority shareholders to sell. They're trying to get enough votes to oust you. My phone vibrated again, a message from Chenis. Emergency. Come back now. Back at the office, Chenis met me at the elevator. Someone's been accessing confidential files. Project specifications, client lists, everything. Vincent, I growled. He still has his emergency access codes. I've locked everything down, Chenis assured me, but what? 3 of our biggest clients have called. They're considering moving their contracts to Apex. I stood in the middle of my office, surrounded by the empire I built, watching it potentially crumble around me. Then something inside me shifted. The fear and pain transformed into cold, calculated anger. Chenis, call legal. I want those access codes changed and all confidentiality agreements reviewed. I turned to Felicity. Give me everything you can on Nigel, and I mean everything. What are you planning? Felicity asked. I moved to the window, staring at the city skyline. They want to play dirty? Fine. But they're about to learn that I didn't build this company by playing nice. My phone vibrated once more. Bada. Vincent tells me you're being difficult. Remember, dear, I'm only trying to help. I smiled, a plan already forming. Felicity, one more thing. Get me Nigel's direct number. It's time I had a chat with our competitor. They thought they could outmaneuver me. They were about to learn exactly who they were. Zarya? Get. Out. He straightened his tie, trying to maintain dignity. We'll talk when you've calmed down. The door closed behind him with a soft click. I slumped back into my chair, hands shaking. I need everything you can find on Apex, I told Felicity. Financial reports, stock prices, insider rumors, everything. My phone vibrated, a text from Amber. Need to talk. Lunch? It's important. An hour later, I was sitting across from Amber at a quiet cafe 2 blocks from my office. She looked nervous, shredding a napkin into tiny pieces. Bada has been planning this for months, she blurted out. She's convinced you're running the company into the ground, that you're too ambitious for your own good. And he believes her. You know how he is with her. She's had him eating out of her hand since his father died. Amber leaned forward. But there's something else. Last week I overheard her on the phone with Nigel. They're planning to force a board vote next month. My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. They can't. I have the majority of shares. For now. Amber's voice dropped to a whisper. But they're convincing the minority shareholders to sell. They're trying to get enough votes to oust you. My phone vibrated again, a message from Chenis. Emergency. Come back now. Back at the office, Chenis met me at the elevator. Someone's been accessing confidential files. Project specifications, client lists, everything. Vincent, I growled. He still has his emergency access codes. I've locked everything down, Chenis assured me, but what? 3 of our biggest clients have called. They're considering moving their contracts to Apex. I stood in the middle of my office, surrounded by the empire I built, watching it potentially crumble around me. Then something inside me shifted. The fear and pain transformed into cold, calculated anger. Chenis, call legal. I want those access codes changed and all confidentiality agreements reviewed. I turned to Felicity. Give me everything you can on Nigel, and I mean everything. What are you planning? Felicity asked. I moved to the window, staring at the city skyline. They want to play dirty? Fine. But they're about to learn that I didn't build this company by playing nice. My phone vibrated once more. Bada. Vincent tells me you're being difficult. Remember, dear, I'm only trying to help. I smiled, a plan already forming. Felicity, one more thing. Get me Nigel's direct number. It's time I had a chat with our competitor. They thought they could outmaneuver me. They were about to learn exactly who they were dealing with. Are you sure about this? Chenis paced my office, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. Going behind their backs to meet with Nigel? It feels risky. I adjusted my jacket in the office bathroom mirror. Riskier than letting them steal my company? I just don't want revenge to cloud your judgment. She handed me my lipstick. We've worked too hard to lose everything over emotions. Trust me, I carefully applied the red shade. This isn't about revenge, it's about survival. The elevator ride up to Apex Tech's penthouse office seemed endless. When the doors opened, Nigel was waiting, all fake smiles and expensive cologne. Zarya, what an unexpected pleasure, he gestured to his office. Though I must admit I'm curious why you insisted on meeting here rather than at your office. Let's just say I don't trust my own walls right now. I settled into the leather chair opposite his desk. But we both know why I'm here. His smile never faltered. Do we? So, Vincent and Bada reached out to you about acquiring my company. I leaned forward. They're promising you something you want. The question is, what am I willing to offer that's better? Nigel's facade cracked slightly. I'm listening. A real merger, not the hostile takeover they're planning. Equal partnership, shared resources, combined market presence. I pulled out a tablet with preliminary projections. Our technologies complement each other. Together, we could dominate the market. He studied the numbers, his expression thoughtful. And Vincent would have no stake in it? This deal is between you and me. His mother won't like that. His mother isn't the one with the technology, the patents, or the client relationships. I smiled. Or did they forget to mention that part? My phone vibrated, a text from Amber. 911. Bada knows you're at Apex. Vincent on his way. Perfect timing. Think about it, I stood up, but don't take too long. My offer expires in 48 hours. The elevator opened just as I reached it, revealing Vincent's furious face. What are you doing here? He demanded. Business. I stepped around him. You remember that, right? Or do you need to check with your mother first? His hand grabbed my arm. For this, you're embarrassing yourself? I wrenched away sharply. The only embarrassment here is you trying to steal what you couldn't build yourself. Everything okay? Nigel had come out of his office, watching us with interest. Fine. Vincent straightened his tie. Just a domestic disagreement, really. I turned to Nigel. Tell him about our meeting, about the real merger we discussed. Vincent's face paled. What merger? I'll leave you two to discuss it. I headed for the elevator. Oh, and Vincent, I want your things out of the house by tonight. Back at my office, Felicity was waiting with fresh intel. You're not going to believe this. Remember those client contracts that were wavering? Turns out Bada personally reached out to them, spreading rumors about our company's stability. Chenis had joined us. We could sue for defamation. I shook my head. Legal battles would only drain resources we need right now. Besides, I have a better idea. I turned to Chenis. Remember that blockchain project we've been developing? The one that could revolutionize secure data transfer? It's still in testing, but fast-track it. I want a demo ready in 2 days. Felicity's eyes widened. You're going to show it to Nigel? Better. I'm going to make him think he's stealing it. I opened our project files. We'll leak just enough information to make his mouth water. When he realizes what we're capable of, he'll choose us over Vincent and Bada. Brilliant, Chenis grinned. My phone lit up with messages. Vincent, we need to talk. Delete. Bada, you're making a terrible mistake. Delete. Amber, just heard Mom yelling at Vincent. What did you do? That last one made me smile. One more thing, I told my team. I want a complete audit of every project Vincent had access to. If he copied anything, I want to know. Already on it. Felicity pulled out a document. And you should see this. Bada has been quietly buying Stex shares through shell companies. They're trying to accumulate voting power. Too little, too late. I checked my watch. The merger paperwork will be ready tomorrow. Once Nigel signs, they'll be powerless. Chenis grinned as my phone vibrated again. Nigel, your offer is intriguing. Dinner tomorrow to discuss details? I showed the message to the ladies. I think the tables are about to turn. Felicity arched an eyebrow. Revenge served cold. No, I corrected her. Justice served exactly as it should be. I replied to Nigel, dinner tomorrow, 8 p.m. Bring your lawyers. The game had begun, and this time, I was writing the rules. The private dining room at LeBlanc buzzed with tension as Nigel's lawyers reviewed the merger documents. I sipped my wine, watching Nigel's face for any reaction to our blockchain demonstration. This is, he paused, scrolling through the technical specifications on his tablet, this is revolutionary. That's just the prototype, I smiled. Imagine what we could do with combined resources. A knock on the door made everyone look up. The maitre d' appeared, looking uncomfortable. Pardon the interruption, but there's a situation in the lobby. I didn't need to ask. Bada's voice carried throughout the restaurant, demanding to be let in. So predictable. Keep reviewing the documents, I told Nigel, standing up. I'll handle this. Bada was in the lobby, her designer suit perfectly pressed, Vincent hovering behind her like a lost puppy. Well, she sneered. Secret meetings now? How desperate. Actually, we're in the middle of signing a merger agreement. I kept my voice light, aware that other diners were watching. Would you like to witness your son losing his chance at a hostile takeover? Vincent stepped forward. You can't do this. Watch me. You ungrateful little, Bada began, but I cut her off. Careful, Bada, we wouldn't want everyone here to witness you threatening a CEO during legitimate business negotiations, would we? You think you're so clever, she hissed, but I have private investigators following your every move. One misstep, is that supposed to frighten me? I laughed. Go ahead, investigate, all you'll find is a woman protecting what legitimately belongs to her. Your father-in-law would be disgusted, she spat. My father-in-law built his company honestly, unlike his son who's trying to steal one. Vincent flinched. Good. My phone vibrated, a text from Chenis. Nigel's lawyers finished reviewing. They're ready. If you'll excuse me, I moved past them. I have a merger to finalize. This isn't over, Bada shouted after me. You're right, I turned back. This is just beginning. Back in the private room, Nigel's expression had changed from interested to eager. Just your blockchain technology alone is worth the merger, but there is one concern. Vincent and his mother are persistent. I pulled out my phone, showing him screenshots. You mean emails like these where they promise you my company's assets without having any legal right to them? Or these records of Bada trying to manipulate stock prices? His lawyers exchanged glances. I have everything documented, I continued. Every underhanded move, every attempt to undermine my company. The question is, do you want to be on the winning side of this, or the losing one? Nigel picked up his pen. Where do I sign? 2 hours later, I walked into my office where Felicity and Chenis were waiting. Well? Felicity jumped up. I held up the signed merger agreement. We are now equal partners with Apex Tech, and I'm CEO. Chenis squealed, hugging me. Take that, Vincent. My celebration was interrupted by another text from Amber. Mom's on the warpath. She's calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow. Perfect timing. Felicity, send the merger announcement to all shareholders first thing tomorrow. Already drafted? She showed me her tablet. This will hit every major business news outlet at 8 a.m. sharp. One more thing. Chenis handed me a folder. We found something interesting in the audit. Vincent accessed our server last week from an unknown IP address. I flipped through the documents. He copied files. Tried to. But remember that security patch we installed last month? It corrupted any unauthorized downloads. All he got was gibberish. My phone rang. Vincent. Don't answer it, Felicity advised. Oh, I think I will. I put it on speaker. Hello, dear. What have you done? His voice trembled with rage. Protected my company. Something you should have thought about before conspiring with your mother. The board will never approve this merger. The board won't have a choice. Check your email tomorrow morning. I paused. Oh, and Vincent, I want those corrupted files you stole back. All of them. He hung up. You know they won't give up, Chenis said quietly. I'm counting on it. I moved to the window, watching the city lights twinkle. Because when they make their next move, we'll be ready. My phone vibrated one last time. Nigel, Vada just called, threatening legal action. Should I be worried? I replied, no. Let her dig her own grave. Tomorrow, the real fireworks would begin. Let them call their emergency board meeting. Let them try to stop what was already in motion. Because this time, I wasn't just fighting back, I was changing the game entirely. The boardroom erupted into chaos as soon as the merger announcement appeared on the wall-mounted screens. Vada's face turned an impressive shade of purple as she read the headlines: Tech Giants Unite, Stack and Apex Tech announce revolutionary merger. This is outrageous, she slammed her hand on the mahogany table. The board never approved this. The board doesn't need to, I replied calmly, sliding copies of the merger agreement down the table. As majority shareholder, I had full authority to negotiate this deal. Actually, one of the board members adjusted his glasses, scanning the document. These terms are incredibly favorable. Our stock price has already risen 12% since the announcement. Vincent burst through the boardroom doors, late as usual. Stop the press release. Too late. Felicity smiled from her seat beside me. It's already trending on Twitter. You manipulative little, Vincent began, but Nigel chose that moment to enter. Sorry I'm late, he announced, taking the empty seat beside me. Traffic was terrible. Have I missed anything important? Vada's eyes narrowed. You betrayed us. Nigel raised an eyebrow. I chose the better business opportunity. Something you should understand, Vada, given your creative approaches to acquisition. The board members shifted uncomfortably. One cleared his throat. What creative approaches? I pulled out another folder. Funny you should ask. We have evidence of attempted corporate espionage, market manipulation, and defamation. I began distributing copies, including recorded conversations with our clients spreading false information about our company's stability. Those recordings are illegal, Vada snapped. Not when they're made by the clients themselves, I smiled. Turns out not everyone appreciates being manipulated. Vincent grabbed a copy, his face paling as he read. Mom, what have you done? Only what was necessary to protect you, she turned to the board. Everything I did was to preserve this company's legacy. By destroying it, I stood up. The merger with Apex Tech will double our market share, expand our technological capabilities, and secure our position as industry leaders. Your plan would have gutted us for parts. She's right, another board member spoke up, reviewing the projections. These numbers are impressive. Vada wasn't finished. Vincent is the rightful heir to what? I interrupted. A company he didn't build? Innovation he didn't create? Admit it, Vada. Your son isn't half the businessman his father was. Vincent lunged forward, but Nigel stepped between us. Careful, he warned. Assault charges wouldn't look good in tomorrow's papers. My phone vibrated, a message from Chenis. Private investigators spotted outside, 2 of them. Perfect. Oh, Vada, I pulled up some photos on my phone. Next time you hire private investigators, make sure they're not ex-Apex Tech employees. Nigel's security team spotted them immediately. The color drained from her face. That's harassment, Vincent protested. Exactly, I agreed. The restraining order should be processed by end of day. The board chairman cleared his throat. I believe we've heard enough. The merger appears legally sound and financially beneficial. Unless there are legitimate objections? Silence. Then this meeting is adjourned. Congratulations on the merger, Zarya. As the board members filed out, Vada grabbed my arm. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I freed myself. And if you touch me again, I'll add assault to the restraining order. Back in my office, Felicity and Chenis were waiting with champagne. Did you see their faces? Chenis popped the cork. Priceless. Don't celebrate yet, I warned, checking my phone. They'll try something else. Let them. Felicity handed me a glass. We have them cornered. A knock on the door. Amber entered, looking nervous. Can we talk? The others took the hint and left. Mom is losing it, Amber said once we were alone. She's talking about legal action, going to the press. With what evidence? All she has implicates her more than me. Vincent is a mess. He keeps saying you betrayed him. Funny how betrayal feels, isn't it? Amber moved to the window. They never saw you coming. Dad would be proud. What did Dad always say? That the company needed fresh blood, new ideas. She turned to me. That's why he encouraged Vincent to marry you. He saw something in you that Mom never could. My phone vibrated again. Vincent, we need to talk. Please. About us. I showed Amber the message. Are you going to answer? I deleted it. There's nothing left to say. Another vibration. Nigel, emergency at Apex, need you here now. Possible security breach. I grabbed my coat. The day wasn't over yet, and something told me Bada had one more card to play. But this time, I was ready for anything. Apex Tech's offices were in chaos when I arrived. Security guards rushed past me as Nigel paced the lobby, phone pressed to his ear. Someone's accessed our servers, he explained, hanging up. They're trying to corrupt the merger files. Vincent, I growled, pulling out my phone to call Chenis. Already on it, she answered before I could speak. The attack is coming from inside our old backup server, which Vincent still had access to. Can you stop it? Better. I can trace it. Nigel, the security chief, approached us, tablet in hand. Sir, we've located the source. It's coming from a private office downtown. Let me guess, I looked at the address. Bada's law firm? Spot on. My phone vibrated with a text from Amber. Mom just called Vincent, screaming about corrupted files. What did you do? I smiled. Chenis, remember that security patch that corrupted Vincent's stolen files? Yes. Did we ever tell them it was actually a tracking virus? Nigel's eyes widened. You knew they'd try this? Better. I showed him my screen where Chenis had sent a tracking log. Every time they try to access those files, it sends their location and corrupts more of their system. Clever, he admitted. But we still need to stop the attack. Already done? Chenis's voice came through the speaker. I've locked them out completely. But there's something else. Someone inside Apex is helping them. Nigel's face darkened. Who? Your IT chief, Marcus. He's been feeding them access codes. The same Marcus who's been suspiciously absent today. Nigel grabbed his phone. Security, find Marcus now. My phone rang. Vincent. What have you done? He demanded when I answered. Mom's lawyers can't access any of their computers. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? I hung up. Nigel's security team returned with Marcus in tow, looking decidedly uncomfortable. Mrs. Patterson paid me, he blurted before anyone could speak. She said it was just insurance, in case the merger went bad. How much? Nigel's voice was deathly quiet. 50,000. Congratulations, I stepped forward. You just committed corporate espionage for pocket change. Hope it's worth the federal charges. Marcus paled. Federal? Did you really think we wouldn't have the FBI's cybercrime division on speed dial for a merger of this size? Nigel nodded to his security team. Detain him for questioning. My phone vibrated again. Felicity, you have to see this. Bada's going to the press. I opened the live stream on my tablet. There was Bada, standing in front of her law firm, surrounded by reporters. This merger is illegal, she was saying. My daughter-in-law has manipulated everyone involved. The stream suddenly cut out, replaced by breaking news. Tech merger scandal, evidence of corporate espionage attempts revealed. What the hell? Nigel stared at the screen. Chenis's voice came through my phone. Remember those tracking logs? I might have sent them to every major news outlet, along with recordings of Bada's conversations with Marcus. On screen, reporters were now surrounding Bada, asking about the allegations. Her perfect composure cracked as she fled to her car. Zarya? Vincent stepped out of the elevator. For this, you're destroying our family? No, Vincent, your mother did that when she tried to steal my company. She was trying to protect me? From what? Success? Independence? God forbid your wife be more successful than you. His face contorted. You think you're so perfect? I know about your meetings with Nigel, the late nights, the secret dinners. Nigel burst out laughing. Is that what your mother told you? That your wife was having an affair rather than saving her company? Vincent faltered. She said what she needed to say to manipulate you, I finished. As always. Vincent collapsed into a chair, face ashen. I didn't know. I thought what she wanted you to think. I turned away. We're done here. Zarya, please, security will show you out. As they led Vincent away, Nigel touched my arm. You knew they'd try something like this. I knew Bada would never go down quietly. I checked my phone again. The news was everywhere now. She needed to be destroyed publicly. Ruthless, he smiled. I like it. Another vibration. Bada, you'll regret this. I replied, no, Bada, you already do. Tomorrow would bring damage control, press conferences, and probably more retaliation attempts. But for now, watching Bada's carefully constructed world crumble on national television was satisfaction enough. The press room buzzed with anticipation. Camera flashes erupted as I took my place at the podium, Nigel standing supportively at my right. Good morning, I began, my voice firm. Today marks a historic moment for both STEC and Apex Technologies. The doors burst open. Bada stormed in, Vincent trailing behind her like a lost shadow. Security moved to intercept them, but I raised my hand. Let them stay, I said into the microphone. They should hear this. Cameras swiveled to capture Bada's enraged face. As I was saying, I continued, this merger represents more than business. It represents integrity winning over manipulation, innovation overcoming entitlement. Lies, Bada shouted. You stole this company from my son. The reporters went wild, cameras flashing frantically. Actually, I pulled out a document, I'd like to address that. Yesterday, federal authorities uncovered evidence of corporate espionage, attempted theft of intellectual property, and market manipulation. Would you care to comment on your role in those activities, Bada? She lunged forward, but security caught her arms. You orchestrated this? You set us up. No, I held up a USB drive. You set yourself up. Every email, every secret meeting, every attempt to steal my company, it's all here. Would anyone from the press like a copy? Hands shot up around the room. You can't prove anything, Bada spat. Nigel stepped forward. Actually, we can. Your IT consultant, Marcus, has been very cooperative with federal investigators. Vincent's face paled. Mom, what have you done? Everything I did was for you, she turned to him. To secure your future. By committing crimes, he backed away. Lying to me about my own wife. The reporters wrote frantically, cameras rolling. Speaking of crimes, I nodded to Felicity, who stepped forward with more documents. We've discovered evidence of similar attempts to manipulate other companies over the past decade. The FBI is very interested in establishing a pattern. Bada's composure finally cracked. You vindictive little. Choose your next words carefully, I interrupted. You're on live television. She fell silent, seeming to finally register the cameras. Now I turned back to the reporters. Any questions about the merger? Hands shot up everywhere. I pointed to a reporter in front. Is it true that Mrs. Patterson attempted to force a hostile takeover through fraudulent means? The evidence speaks for itself, I responded diplomatically, but yes, that attempt failed spectacularly. Another reporter. Mr. Patterson, did you know anything about your mother's illegal activities? Vincent stepped forward, his voice shaking. No, I was manipulated too. I owe my wife an apology. The room fell silent. Even Bada stopped struggling against security. Save your words, I said quietly. The divorce papers are already filed. Cameras clicked frantically as Vincent's face crumbled. One more announcement, I continued. In light of recent events, both STEC and Apex Tech will be implementing new anti-corruption measures. We believe in earning success, not stealing it. Bada laughed bitterly. You think you've won? I still have contacts. Had contacts, Nigel corrected. It's amazing how quickly people distance themselves from federal investigations. My phone vibrated, a message from Amber. FBI just left Mom's office with boxes of evidence. It's over. Ms. Matthews, shouted another reporter, what's next for the merged companies? Growth, innovation, success, I smiled directly at Bada, all achieved legally and ethically. You've destroyed this family, Bada shouted as security began escorting her out. No, Bada, you did that all by yourself. After the press conference, Felicity found me in my office. Stock price is soaring, she reported, and you're trending on Twitter. Boss lady and karma exists are the top hashtags. Any news from Vincent? He's agreed to a quiet divorce, probably trying to distance himself from his mother's scandal. My phone lit up with a call from Amber. Are you okay? I answered. Mom's being charged. Her voice was choked with tears. Multiple counts. They say she could face serious jail time. I'm sorry, Amber. Don't be sorry. She brought this on herself. She paused. Dad would have been proud of you, you know, for standing up to her. After hanging up, I moved to my office window. Below, news vans were still parked outside, reporters waiting for more drama. Nigel appeared in my doorway. Ready for the merger announcement party? Almost. I checked my phone one last time, a final message from Vincent. Sorry for everything. I deleted it without responding. You know, Nigel said quietly, revenge doesn't usually feel this satisfying. This isn't revenge, I corrected him. This is justice. And justice, it turned out, felt better than revenge ever could. Guilty on all counts. The judge's words resonated throughout the courtroom. I watched as Bada's shoulders tensed as the reality of her situation sank in. Her designer suit couldn't hide her defeat now. The defendant will surrender for processing immediately, the judge continued. Sentencing will be scheduled for next week. When the marshals approached Bada, she turned to look at me in the gallery. Happy now? This isn't about happiness, I replied quietly. It's about consequences. Vincent sat 3 rows behind her, head bowed. He hadn't looked at me once during the trial. Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded us. Felicity handled them expertly while Chenis guided me through the crowd to our waiting car. 8 counts of corporate espionage, Chenis whistled once we were inside. Plus fraud and conspiracy. She'll be lucky if she gets less than 15 years. My phone vibrated. Amber, can we meet? Need to talk. An hour later, I was sitting across from her at our old favorite cafe. Vincent is selling his shares, she said without preamble. He's moving to Europe. Says he needs a fresh start. Smart move. He wanted me to give you this. She slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a letter and a familiar USB drive, the one he had used to try to steal company files. Read it, she insisted. I unfolded the paper. Saria, the drive contains everything, every email, every conversation with Mom about taking your company. I've already given copies to the prosecutors, but you should have this too. I'm sorry, I was too weak to stand up to her, too blind to see what was right in front of me. You built something amazing, and I let Mom's manipulation and my jealousy poison everything. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. Vincent, is he really leaving? I asked Amber. First flight tomorrow. She stirred her coffee. You know what's ironic? Mom's plans cost him everything. She was trying to protect the family name, social status, Vincent's future. My phone lit up with a message from Nigel. Turn on the news right now. Amber and I huddled over my phone to watch the breaking news. Tech titan Bada Patterson's empire crumbles as board forces liquidation of family holdings. Holy, Amber whispered. Back at the office, champagne flowed freely. Our merged company's stock had hit another all-time high, and the board had just approved our expansion plans. Felicity raised her glass. To karma. To justice, Chenis corrected. To both, I smiled, but my celebration was interrupted by a familiar face at my office door. Vincent, he asked quietly. Can we talk? Before I leave. I nodded to my team, who discreetly filed out. I read your letter, I said. I meant every word. He stood by the door, keeping his distance. I kept telling myself I was protecting our marriage, our future, but I was just being a coward. Yes, you were. He gave a hollow laugh. The funny thing is, Dad always said you were the best thing that could have happened to this family. He saw your potential. Mom saw it too. That's why she felt threatened. What did you come here for, Vincent? To say goodbye, and to tell you Dad was right. You're exactly what this company needed. He turned to leave, then paused. Take care of Amber. Always. After he left, I moved to my window, the same one I'd looked out of so many times during this battle. But today it felt different. Final. My phone vibrated one last time, a news alert. Bada Patterson sentenced, 18 years for corporate crimes. Nigel appeared in my doorway. Board meeting in 10. Ready to show them the future. I grabbed my tablet, opening the specs for our new project. More than ready. Any regrets? He asked as we walked toward the boardroom. About how it all turned out? The only person responsible for Bada's downfall was Bada, I replied. She chose greed over family, manipulation over honesty, and Vincent chose weakness over integrity. I paused outside the boardroom. But that's their story. This, I gestured to the bustling office around us, this is mine. Inside, the board members waited expectantly. As I took my place at the head of the table, I felt something I hadn't experienced since this all began, peace. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, let's talk about the future. Because that's what mattered now. Not revenge, not vindication, but building something lasting, something honest, something that would make my own legacy worth remembering. And this time, no one could take it from me.